On the morning of May 26, 1990, in a quiet suburb of West Palm Beach, Florida, a doorbell rang. Marlene Warren opened the door to find a clown standing on her porch. White face paint, orange wig, a colorful costume. In one hand, 2 white carnations. In the other, a bunch of balloons. Her son Michael was standing right behind her. The clown handed her the flowers, and then shot her in the face. By the time paramedics arrived, Marlene was dying on her own doorstep. The clown walked calmly to a white Chrysler LeBaron and drove away. Nobody was arrested that day. Nobody was arrested for the next 33 years. And the reason why? It's one of the most disturbing things I've ever uncovered. Marlene Warren was 40 years old. She lived in Wellington, Florida with her husband Richard Warren, who ran a used car dealership. By most accounts, it wasn't a happy marriage. Richard had a reputation for being controlling, and people close to Marlene knew she'd been thinking about leaving him. But on the surface, their life looked ordinary. A house in the suburbs, a business, a family. That morning, Richard claimed he was at the car lot when it happened. His employee, a woman named Sheila Keene, also said she was working that day. Police had almost nothing to go on. One witness described a white Chrysler LeBaron. Another remembered the clown costume. That was it. But detectives noticed something almost immediately. The 2 people who stood to benefit most from Marlene's death, Richard Warren and Sheila Keene, both had shaky alibis. And investigators quietly noted that Sheila Keene bore a physical resemblance to the clown described by witnesses. Still, resemblance is not evidence. And for years, the case went cold. Here's where it gets darker. Within 2 years of Marlene's murder, Richard Warren and Sheila Keene were in a relationship. They eventually married. Think about that for a moment. The husband of the murder victim married his employee, the main suspect in his wife's killing. And there was nothing police could legally do about it. Investigators never stopped working the case. Over the decades, they collected forensic evidence, re-interviewed witnesses, and waited. They were waiting for technology to catch up with what they already suspected. In 2014, 24 years after the murder, police searched the home Richard and Sheila now shared in Virginia. They found fragments of a clown costume. They found makeup. And most critically, they found DNA evidence linking Sheila Keene Warren directly to the clown costume that had been purchased before the murder. In 2017, Sheila Keene Warren was finally arrested and charged with first-degree murder. But the case wasn't over. The legal process dragged on for 6 more years. Evidence was challenged. Hearings were postponed. And then, in 2023, 33 years after Marlene Warren was shot on her own doorstep, Sheila Keene Warren accepted a plea deal. She pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. She was sentenced to 30 years in prison. Richard Warren was never charged with any crime. To this day, he has not been convicted of any involvement in his first wife's death. Now, here's what I can't stop thinking about. Why a clown? Prosecutors argued it was a disguise, simple and effective. In 1990, before the age of facial recognition and cameras on every corner, a clown costume was genuinely one of the best ways to hide your identity in broad daylight. Nobody remembers a face under white paint and a wig. They just remember the clown. But there's something else. A clown carrying flowers and balloons to someone's door doesn't trigger fear, at least not immediately. It triggers confusion, maybe even a smile. Marlene Warren opened that door and probably had half a second of pure bewilderment before she understood what was happening. That half a second was all the killer needed. It was calculated. It was cold. And it worked for 33 years. Sheila Keene Warren has never publicly explained her motive. She took the plea deal without a trial, which means we never heard the full story in court. We don't know exactly how it was planned, who came up with the idea, or whether Richard Warren played any role. Some questions, even in closed cases, never fully get answered. Marlene Warren was 40 years old. She had her whole life ahead of her. She opened her front door on a sunny Florida morning and never closed it again. Her killer lived free for 33 years. She got married. She built a new life. And the only reason justice finally came was because investigators refused to let the case die. And because DNA technology eventually caught up with what everyone already suspected. So here's my question for you. Do you think Richard Warren knew? The man who married the woman convicted of killing his wife, is that a coincidence? Or is it something else entirely? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you want more cases like this, stories that took decades to unravel, where the truth was hiding in plain sight the whole time, hit subscribe. New video every week. Justice delayed is not justice denied. Sometimes it just takes 33 years.